on? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back. Goodfellow Sports TV. Appreciate it. I want to do a special video talking about the first book I ever read, like first chapter book I ever read, and it was Inner City Miracle by Greg Mathis. I don't know how many people know his story, but I know how powerful this book was. For me, I was around 13 years old. My mother paid me to read this book, and I did. You know what I'm saying? It was one of the greatest decisions, the greatest, things I ever took upon. And I want to kind of share how this book helped me at 13, and maybe it can help somebody else kid out there as well. But it's Goodfellow Sports TV once again. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, bell icon button. Won't miss another video. And yeah, man, this book by Greg Mathis, it was like, I wasn't into reading chapter books. I was probably on the borderline of being a knucklehead at this point in my life, and I think my mother seen that. I could have went one or two ways down the route of hood, street, and crazy type things, or I could have went the route that I went, and this book kind of scared me and motivated me to stay, on the right path and do better in school, man. And like I said again, it was Inner City Miracle by Greg Mathis. It's like $4 on Barnes and Nobles when I picked it out, and he actually autographed it for me, and that was part of the motivation. Is also reading the book he autographed, and basically inside the book I have it still somewhere in my storage or in my basement, telling me to keep my head up. And it was tough, man. I mean, I don't know how many people knew, what Greg Mathis went through. I mean, from was it robbing Sears, I think it was, and running in, snatching and grabbing the Sears, and having run-ins with police. Being part of, I think, the Earl Flynn gang, I think it was. His brothers was all terrorists. They turned their life around, picked up trades, went to school. And, it was at one point, I think he said he had moved out to Inkster. And he was breaking into the neighbor's house, and his mom found out, and I think made him take all the stuff back. And pretty much he was on the track of, no return. And the reason that he didn't progress farther in his career was because of the mistakes he made early, as a teenager and as a young adult that stuck with him on his criminal record. But he was able to bounce back. I think he went to UAD and Eastern or whatever it was. Excuse my ignorance. I forget, it's been a while since I've read the book again, but I've read it a couple of times. But damn near 30, so that was over like 15 years ago before I read the book again. But the whole point of the book for me was, it was kind of like scared straight in novelty form. It scared me straight. I wasn't into the stealing thing or the gang thing that he was into, but it's at that critical age of 13 for me that I knew that a mistake, he kind of scared me. Like people say, one mistake can't define you. One mistake, one mistake ain't a problem. It kind of deterred me not to make that one major mistake in my life early on. And kind of what I took for him, eventually he turned his life around, and all his brothers did basically too, because they was into some gang and crazy type of stuff as well too. And eventually each one of his brothers turned his life around, but it kind of took the knucklehead of Greg Mathis a while to kind of get that point and really get the rhythm of doing the right thing, and eventually became a judge, and eventually saved his life from the streets, because many different times that he was doing stuff and robbing the Sears and robbing stores like that in the mall, and snatching and running and joining gangs and the Flynn, and then he grew up in the Herman Gardens as well, right off Joy Road in Southfield in Detroit. And you just hear about these things. You said, damn, at one point in the book, it was hard for him to really, go out there and try to, I guess, reach the Supreme Court with I think an F on his report card, if you catch my drift. And it kind of showed me like, dude, like, as a black man, we have no margin for error. Okay. No margin for error as a black man. And like, it kind of told me, like, what if he never did all those bad things and caught all them charges, whatever, where would he be? And he has a successful lifestyle, TV judge, and he had ringside for most of the fights for my boxing heads. And he's really, he really should be dead right now or locked in jail for life. But he turned that around, and, that book was, it wasn't like reading no gangster book where I read the YBI Bush Jones books, Young Boys Incorporated, Charge for All My Detroit People, and that book was powerful as well too. But it was powerful in a totally different way. It was like it showed how in depth the gang life and how gutter they really was. This showed how gutter, Greg Mathis was and how deep and entrenched he was in the gang life, but how he pulled himself up out of there. And not only when he pulled himself about the gang life, he did get some lumps on the head from catching charges and catching cases, that he would go and try to have to pass the bar exam. He would have to deal with, having, a messed up record and being a black man trying to be a lawyer after doing what he done. And like I said before, it was a very, very good book. And I did this video for all the parents out there, the fathers, the mothers, that kids are at a critical point. Maybe you don't think your kid is into anything, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't into gang culture or whatever it may be. I wasn't the best kid, you know what I'm saying? I didn't get the best grade, but this kind of shaped me before I kind of entered high school to really get serious and say, you know what, I'm going to give this shit a real try. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go in there and get high school all I wanted. I was a kid that never got straight A's until I got to high school, and this book kind of helped me like take high school serious. And something that the guy told me in the 8th grade, he told me that he said, man, this, like, he said something along these lines, like ain't no redo overs in high school. This the real thing. And if you fail a class, you got to take it over. And with that book and what that guy told me, and to this day, I don't speak to him, but what he told me, that was like insurmountable. It was like the key. It was like the key to the secret boxer. From that point on, I was less than 4.0s, 3.8s in high school. I approached it seriously, and I always felt I had the potential. A lot of people felt I had the potential. We got to a point that, people thought I just didn't care. I was slow, but at the end of the day, it's just, I didn't care. I didn't care about school. I would be the type of student that last 2 weeks I'm doing all the makeup work to bring my F up to a C. But if I would have put that same or just half of that work ethic into bringing my F up to a C before the semester or the quarter was over with, I'd be a straight A student. And I applied that method to school and high school, and I never had a problem since. Never felt the test was too hard. Never felt the quiz was too hard. Never felt homework was hard. I did what I had to do and handle my business, and part of that was that book. That book he was a smart guy. He was a real smart guy, but he got caught up in the wrong crowd. And what it showed me is that if he would have just stayed on the right path the whole time and not, had the run-ins and was with the gangs and ran with the wrong people and almost got killed, I believe, as well, too. That if he would have put that effort into his whole life, like, this dude would probably be, way more than what he is, and just a TV lawyer, a TV judge. This dude would have been like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Some third-grade Marshall type shit. He'd have been the guy. And I just never wanted to get that detrimental F on my report card. I didn't want to make that fatal mistake that, trying to sell drugs and try to get into that and die. You know what I'm saying? And this book kind of like helped me. And I'm telling you, if you got a kid that's at that critical age, how to read that book. I'm telling you, the book costs nothing. $4 on Barnes and Nobles. You can order it. You probably get the audio book or just the ebook version. And I'm telling you, even if you got to read it along with your kid, your son, your daughter, read that book along. Like, it's never too late. As long as you free, as long as you're a teenager, read that book, man. The book is very, very inspirational, very, very deep, and I think it part of that was it saved my life. Real talk. Part of that book saved my life. It kind of, 13, you at that point that you can run in the streets, you can get with the wrong crowd. You not taking school serious. And he showed that it wasn't too late. He got serious. He applied his potential. And I think at the latest moment in his life, he unlocked his potential. And, at the ninth inning, 2 outs, he hit a home run and he saved his career, he saved his life. And dude put a lot of stress on his mom. And maybe my mom was feeling that type of way. Like, I could have went either which way at the time. And in this book, and her she tried everything, you know what I'm saying, to keep me out the streets and keep me respectful. And at that time, it pretty much tilted me in the other way. And I thank my mother for that, man. That book and him autographing that book was part of the reason that it motivated me to read it. And her paying me to read it motivated me as well. But by the time I got 2 or 3 chapters in, I was reading it on my own, and it was insurmountable knowledge, and somebody else's life story changed my life, and I never got an opportunity to tell Greg Mathis that, but it changed my life, and hopefully this game can be passed on to some other, mother that kid might be driving them crazy. Had them read the book, read them with them. It's definitely a good book, Inner City Miracle. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Goodfellas Sports TV. Hit the subscribe button, bell icon button. Won't miss another video. We on.